Hey everyone, Chell here with Prismatic Powders, and today we're going to show you how to successfully apply new powder coating over old powder coating. We'll discuss why you might want or need to do this, and we'll talk about the potential problems that can occur in the process and what to do about them. And then we'll show you step by step how to do it right. Let's get started. Now, there aren't many good reasons for powder coating over old powder coating instead of a bare prepped substrate, but this is a process that gets done more than you might think. And sometimes mistakes are made by the coating process, or a customer changes their mind after a color has been shot, and it's just not always realistic to start over from a bare substrate. And powder coating is really tough to sandblast, so your only options beyond that are chemical stripping or burning the powder off in a burn-off oven. And these two options are an added expense, some people can't afford it, and the burn-off option is not suitable for some materials like aluminum. And both options will add at least a day to the process. So really the only reason someone would take this avenue is necessity, either by cost, time, or physics. Now that being said, this is a reality, so now let's talk about the problems that can occur in the process and what to look out for. Durability. When you coat over old powder coating, it's only as good as the base layer that you're coating over. And what I mean is, if that bottom layer wasn't prepped properly and has poor mechanical adhesion, the new layer is not going to help and it will come off with it. So there are no guarantees of durability. Also, make sure you are actually powder coating over powder coating. Never powder coat over paint. Sometimes there are nicks and dings in what you're coating over, and it's very likely that you'll get high and low spots in the finish if they aren't addressed and smoothed out perfectly when you prep for coating. Another issue is color bleed. Color bleed is an issue if you're coating over bright colors with a light color. For example, if you're coating over red with a white, it might turn out sort of pink. So try to pick darker colors in these situations. Lastly, you're about to coat over parts that already have an insulating layer on them, so don't expect them to take powder as easily as a bare substrate, so make adjustments with your voltage as needed. And I do want to mention, if you're coating over a metallic, you're going to need to be especially vigilant for back ionization and deal with it as soon as you see it. We'll link to a video below that will deep dive this issue if you're unsure on how to deal with back ionization. All right, now let's get ready to powder coat over some old powder coating. We're working with a pretty worn Baja style light mount for a motorcycle and a plant stand that looks to be in pretty nice condition. These parts couldn't be more different. One is manly and the other is a plant stand. First thing to do is look the parts over really good so you can see what you're going to need in terms of prep work. Sometimes you may have dings in the original powder, and you're going to want to smooth those out as best you can with some wet sanding so that they aren't so prominent. In every case, you're going to need to degrease the parts. I like to use isopropyl alcohol for degreasing. It's what I suggest using. It does a really good job, it's cheap, and it evaporates quickly. Avoid using acetone because it can sometimes soften the powder, which will be bad to coat over. For this step, you should use lint-free cloths or wipes with your IPA. Microfiber works pretty well for most surfaces. Just make sure you pull out any fibers if they get snagged on your parts. After your parts have a thorough wipe down and there's no visible oils, grease, or other residue, it's time to scuff your parts. The general rule here is to knock off the shine, and you can do this a couple of ways. If you have a cabinet blaster, turn your air down to around 30 to 40 psi and then move quickly across your parts until all the shine is gone. 100 to 80 grit garnet sand is recommended, but even glass media will get the job done. There is, however, another method which is actually simpler and faster, and that's the old Scotch-Brite method. Red or gray is best. Just use a fair amount of pressure, scuff your parts down until they are dull and no shine remains. Use good lighting to check for shiny spots and kill them on sight. After that step's complete, you'll need to rinse and dry your parts. You can pressure wash large parts, but a spray bottle with a damp rag will be just fine for smaller parts. After your parts are dry, you just want to blow them off to make sure no particles remain from the scuffing process. Now, it's time to coat. Try to get the job done in one coat if you can, because you're only adding another insulating layer of powder as you go, so it gets a little more difficult to get the powder to stick. And I know what you're thinking, why not just hot flock it? And yes, sometimes that's what you have to do, but we always try to get it done right before we resort to these types of measures. Now the plant stand took powder pretty well, so we set that aside and shot the Baja light mount. But look what happened, our favorite supervillain, back ionization. We couldn't tame it with voltage adjustments and other techniques, so we just popped it in the oven to partially cure and then hot flocked another layer, and it worked fine. This particular color is a urethane, which look very smooth when you hot flock them. Now our parts are going back in the oven for a full cure, and we'll check the results. Alright, that's it for this video. You can indeed coat over old coating, but it's good to be aware of the potential issues that can come up. But the process, as you can see, it's not difficult. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.